Okay, today we're going to continue with the making of the headlight. In order to do that, we're going to cut 4 pieces. 2 of these, which are the 4-inch size. These would act as the middle of the headlight. 1 5-inch, which is kind of the beginning of the front piece, and another 5-inch with the 3.5-inch piece missing from the center. The outer piece will be kind of the front of the headlight, and the inner piece will be the back of the headlight. So let's cut these out and see how they're going to fit together. So here are the circular pieces. We have 2 5-inch pieces, and the outer one has a 3.5-inch hole in it. These will be assembled like this, and this will be the front of the headlight. These are 4-inch circles. They will be kind of the body of the light, like this, and then this is the 3.5-inch piece from the middle that will kind of round things off at the back. And in terms of how all of them fit together, if we put a kind of temporary screw in there just to kind of line everything up, we have something like this. So from a profile view, that's what the headlight would look like. We are going to use the 1-inch screws to attach the front 2 pieces together, and then the 2-inch screws to attach everything from the back to the front. That should be it. And after widening that center hole and putting a 70mm bolt in it and measuring out the 8 screws that will keep the front piece together, this is what the headlight looks like. And we mount it on the bike. We're going to drill some holes on the sides of the big pieces so we can attach it to the bracket. I believe that's going to be the top of it, like this. But that's the headlight. In a future augmentation, I might consider putting a light of some sort, or maybe an LED strip around the inside. But whatever, for now, that's the headlight. Okay, now that we have the headlight for the bike, we need to make some brackets in order to mount it up front. And to do that, we're going to use some more plywood and cut it to shape to attach kind of like so on both sides, leaving a little bit of a gap for some washers and screws to attach it this way. So let's measure out the pieces of plywood we need, cut those out, and then we're going to move on to the tank pieces. Okay, and here's the light and the 2 pieces that we ended up cutting, which are about 10 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters. And they're essentially going to attach to things like so, allowing it to rotate and mounting it to the bike. So that's good. Now let's take a look at the what we're going to do with the rest of the plywood and the pieces we need for the tank. Okay, and here are the pieces for the tank. So we have 2 large pieces that kind of define the ends of the tank. We have 4 pieces that are kind of half the height that will sit on the frame. That adds essentially the thickness. And then we have 3 pieces that are essentially the same as these other ones, but also have incline cut so they can fit on the neck of the frame. So assembled all together, ends up looking like this. Let's screw it together and fit on the bike. And after assembling the tank, this is what the bike is looking like. There's going to need to be some sanding just to even these out nicely, so that when we paint it, it looks nice and smooth. I still need to make a gas cap, which will be about the size of these things, and kind of just sit like that. Maybe slightly smaller than that. I might have a piece around here somewhere. It looks like that, but that's the tank. It fits pretty snug. I do need to sand this, the neck of the frame a little bit, just so it can fit a little bit easier. And I am going to put a little bracket, 90-degree bracket with the bolt here to attach it. But pretty great. And with the headlight on, just gonna look like, which way is this? Like this? So something like so. Pretty cool. In terms of steering angle, right now it's pretty big. Pretty much matching most modern bikes. I also do need to shave off the screws that stick out a bit, the inner screws that kind of tie it together. Yeah, so that's gonna be the tank. Just need to sand more and get it ready for paint. Next, we're gonna look at building the Monoshock and potentially replacing these two brackets or one of them, because I think it cracked a little much. But that's kind of next on the list, because this is supposed to sit a little bit higher than perhaps it is right now. Like this is supposed to be a nice leveled look, but either way, this is where we sit so far. Okay, and after a little bit of sanding and trimming, here's the tank. Nice and smooth, fits on there pretty good. Just gotta paint it now. I mean, it's plywood, so there are gaps, but and I do use hand tools to do things, so it is not perfect, but it's good enough. So now I just need to paint it. Next, let's make the rear shock so we can actually assemble that rear end without it falling apart. Okay, so now it's time to make the Monoshock for the back. So for that, we're going to need a 15 centimeter piece of 2x4 that is going to remain being this width. We just need to cut it vertically as well to reduce it to some piece like so. What that width is going to be is yet to be determined. My drawings seem to say that it's going to be the same as this, so 3 inch and a half this way as well, so something like this. But let's cut it off and then kind of put it against the bike itself and see what size fits better. So I have a 15 centimeter piece here with that's 1.5 inches both square, and it does fit in the top mount but doesn't in the bottom. So I need to unmount these two brackets and shorten these little pieces a little more so that we can fit, that's about what, 1/4 inch there, to fit the shock in there. Anyways, needed to remake these two pieces themselves, so let's take things off and do some cutting. Okay, and after rejigging some of the brackets just so that the holes line up and the holes actually don't destroy the plywood, the little mini shock fits. Now I just need to carve it a little bit to make it look like an actual shock, which would just mean some lines on all 4 sides. Let's do that and we can wrap this up. All right, and after some trimming and sanding, this is what the rear shock looks like. It's not perfect, but it resembles a rear shock, and it fits right in there. So definitely getting, once it's painted, it's definitely going to give us the look that we're looking for. So let's attach that and wrap this up. All right, and this is what the bike is looking after it's been assembled. So we have the rear shock, we have the tank, and we finally have the headlight mounted, and we could adjust it a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of what we did. I ended up using the same bolts here and then just 2-inch screws on the front, so the whole headlight kind of comes out with the brackets. Now, before we move on to the engine, we need to drill those two brackets down there, and we actually need to build another bracket that mounts on the top of the frame where the motor is going to attach that way. But for now, this is pretty good. I still need to cut the axles to make sure that those are fitted in properly, because right now it's still with the wooden dowels and they kind of move around inconsistently. But this is pretty good. Either way, this will be it for this episode. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications when new videos become available. Check me out on Instagram at Balkan Moto 2018, and check out balkanmoto.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.